What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we are going to be installing the brand new MST enclosed intake. If you guys haven't been keeping up with MST or the GR stuff in general, there's basically, I think, only two major full enclosed intakes out on the market right now. Everyone else is an open element like MST version 1 is. So as you can see there, what I mean by enclosed and not open element is that it's not in a box like the 6 element or the, what's that stupid expensive one they have out right now? Eventuri. So the Eventuri is like right around, I want to say like $1,600, which is way above what I want to pay for an intake. All intakes, if you guys haven't been keeping, basically make around the same net gain, if any, based on all the dyno sheets that everyone's putting out, right? Anywhere between like 8 to like 12 horsepower is what all these intakes are gaining. They're all very marginal. You're not going to feel the difference between like 10 and 12, yada yada yada. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. MST has realized there is a market for people that do not want an open element intake, even though this heat shield does provide adequate heat protection, more so than the factory one did with that little flapper at the bottom that just sucked in hot air from the radiator. But anyways, let me go ahead and show you what I have. And here we have it, I guess a prototype or a first iteration of the MST enclosed intake. So what this provides is, instead of like just a little snorkel for the box that would replace the factory one, they give you an entirely new radiator shroud, which actually sucks air in normally like it normally would and forces it all into here like the factory would, but in a much bigger capacity. So you obviously have your box, the radiator shroud, a glass cover for the top if that's what you want. You have the MAF airflow pipe. You have a pipe that I believe just goes inside the box that connects the filter element, and then you have this back pipe. So if you already have an MST intake, this one is the exact same, so you won't be needing to switch that one out. So I can just save that to the side. So this should go a whole lot faster. Everything else seems pretty self-explanatory. I believe all the hardware and instructions are in here. Hopefully everything is there I need. It also looks like they have their CEL Fix for everyone that's worried about a CEL. I believe this is their version, I want to say like 2.5, because there's like two different versions of the 2.0 that I've been seeing. It's the one that like Cameron from CarQuicks has, if you guys seen his video. And then there's mine, which comes with a little pipe, which he didn't get. But both seem to work just as well. I believe more people had success with this version, which is why I think they're sending this version out more so than my version. But if you want to check out my version, I'll leave a link right there in the top corner and down below. I'll also leave a link to Cameron's video down below so you can see his fix. But anyways, guys, this shouldn't be too difficult at all. I just have to remove this filter, basically just the front part. Hopefully I don't have to remove the strut bar. It shouldn't be in the way. I don't know how cumbersome this box is though. But anyways, let's go ahead and set the camera up and get this intake out. All right, guys, so first and foremost, let's just go ahead and disconnect this sensor right here. Then you're going to want to take a flathead, go ahead and loosen up the clamp, remove the filter element, take that, set it to the side. All right, then you're going to go ahead and take your 12 millimeters, go ahead and loosen up this bracket so you can go ahead and pull this heat shield out, set that to the side. You won't be using that. And then take a flathead, go ahead and loosen up the band back here. Go ahead and pull this one out. And there you go. That should be it for having to remove the old filter or intake element, because you are going to be reusing this back pipe from the first version of the MST intake. So yeah, let's go ahead and start setting up the new one. So the next thing you're going to want to do is, if you have the MST intake and you're not doing this from scratch, you're going to want to locate the rubber grommets that the old MST intake did not utilize. It does look like this new box is going to utilize these, which I really appreciate. So if you have the MST intake, go ahead and locate these, stick them back in the ports like so, and then go ahead and start setting up the factory or the new enclosed box. All right, so I think the next step should be is to take your new pipe and transfer over the sensor from the old pipe to the new pipe. As you can see, the new pipe is much shorter to accommodate for the new enclosed box. The sensor only goes on one way, so if you guys are wondering, this is how it goes on. So yeah, you can't put this on backwards. It just goes on like this. So the shorter end will go towards the coupler. So yeah, this is how it's going to go in. Let's go ahead and put it in. And there you have it. The pipe is done. I guess next up, let's just go ahead and remove these 7 little like push tabs, push clips to go ahead and remove the radiator shroud. Then after that, you are going to want to go ahead and get these little things right here. Don't rip them. Go ahead and carefully remove this grommet piece because the new one does not come with this. So if you don't want to buy a new one, go ahead and carefully remove this, which doesn't look too hard. It just looks like you got to pull out. All you really got to mainly make sure is you don't rip these little tabs, otherwise it won't go back in. So let me go ahead and put this out, transfer it over to the new one. All right, so now that I have the radiator shroud out of the way, you're going to want to go ahead and reach into your bag of goodies. There are 3 of these little guys right here. If I can get my camera to focus, there we go. They just go ahead and screw into the bottom of the box. And these are what's going to port into the grommets that I had you find if you're replacing your old MST intake, or if you still have your factory one, just go ahead and make sure you leave those grommets in. And yeah, there you go. Next up, just go ahead, slide the box in, line it up, and yeah, let's see here. Okay, so I have to pull the box back out. You definitely do have to go ahead and put the filter in first, then go ahead and line it all back up. That way the filter goes in, and then you can pop the box back into place. Make sure it's all nice and snug. Go ahead, line up the filter, put it all the way back in, line up the clamp, which kind of sits at an awkward position. I don't know if you guys can see that, but half the filter sticks out, half the filter's in. So let me go ahead and figure out if I have the box lined up correct, or the pipe needs to be twisted a little bit more so I know whether to put the clamp on the inside or the outside. Give me 1 second. Okay, so after messing around with it for a little bit, it does just kind of looks like it sits halfway in, halfway out. I really can't figure out if it goes all the way, but either way, it fits just fine as of right now. Next up, as I mentioned earlier, after you transfer the grommet over to the new piece, it was pretty simple, but once again, just be careful not to rip it. The back ones did just kind of like stick right in, but they are a little loose. I wish the tolerance was a little bit tighter like the front two. The front twos are in super snug. They definitely aren't coming out anytime soon without a lot of force. I did actually have to use a little baby flathead to kind of like push it in so I could pull it out. But either way, also, it does look like it utilizes 2 different mounting points than the standard push clips. There is a 10mm right here, and then a 10mm right here. As you can see the outline of where I took the bolt off. They do provide a new Allen head and washer to kind of go in there. That way you can like reach in there with an Allen head so you're not fumbling around with like a socket or something. But yeah, other than that, just let's go ahead and line it up. Slide this into the box. There we go. Push everything down like so. And yeah, go ahead, push your clips down, your tabs down. It does look like they have a little spot right here, mounting point for the bracket that you used to just have to like kind of like snuck off to the side. Let me go ahead and pull this out right now. All right, guys, so I have everything lined up. I couldn't figure out how to mount this to this little thing right here. I don't even actually know if that's what it's for. I don't see an extra bracket that they included. I'll definitely have to like message them to see what's up. But after that, after you get everything lined up, everything nice and snug where you want to, go ahead and take the Allen head that they provided, the washer, and a 5mm Allen. Go ahead, line it up, drop it in, and tighten it down. Okay, there you go. Once again, not too tight, and there you have it. The last step you're going to want to do is, if you want to do it, I don't see why you wouldn't, seeing as how you spent all this time and money to get an enclosed box, is to take the acrylic lid. If I can find the opening, I think I just rip it here. Go ahead, place that on. Go ahead and get the provided Allen heads. Once again, these are 3mm, same as the, what is it, the mass sensor. Go ahead, line them up, tighten them down. Once again, this is an acrylic piece of plastic. Do not tighten it down too hard. Hand tight should be more than enough. If you feel like it might get loose, maybe add a dab of Loctite, the weak one, not the strong one. I forget which color it is. I think blue is the light one, maybe green. I forget which one's the strongest and which one's the weakest. I know there's red, blue, and green, whichever one. That's if you feel like that, but I feel like just hand tight, maybe with like a little bit of an extra quarter turn, should be more than adequate. Let me go ahead and get that 3mm. And there we have it. Oh, I just found these right here. It does look like they provide a couple of grommets to go ahead and close up these holes right here so they aren't such an eyesore and they keep more of the air in instead of escaping through the top. Very smart. And there you have it, the brand new MST enclosed intake. Oh my God, this thing looks so beautiful. Yeah, this is what I've honestly been kind of like hoping for, that they would end up doing eventually, or at least somebody, without the price tag of the Eventuri one. So that's very, very cool that they finally made an enclosed box, same design as a Eventuri and the 6 element. Very, very nice. One thing that kind of bothers me right now is that I accidentally touched the lens on the inside, so now there's a fingerprint right there that I'll have to like clean up eventually. But as for right now, let me go ahead, clean up a little bit, and then double check, make sure everything's in the right spot, and then I'll turn it on and see how it sounds. Okay, so let me go ahead and say one thing as of right now. With this enclosed box, you definitely hear the intake a little bit less than you would with an open element. That was to be expected, right? So I figured all the whooshing sound was coming from it being the fact that it was open. Now that it's closed like the factory, you really can't hear it unless you're under heavy load of boost. But that's just sitting here and revving, right? If you guys remember from when I initially installed my first one, you guys remember that sound clip. If not, go ahead and check out the video where I installed the first MST intake. But yeah, so far it looks like I got everything plugged in right. So far, no check engine light. Once again, they do provide you with the fix right here that I don't have the install video on this one. Once again, that is Cameron from CarQuicks. I'll leave that link down below. If you guys want to see my V2 fix that has been stopping the CEL, go ahead and click right there. If not, down there in the box below. But let's go ahead. Let me get changed. I'm sweating my ass off right now. Let me go ahead, get changed, and then we'll go for a test ride. And then we'll see how it sounds in car under heavy load. All right, so first initial impression, just like when I was revving it at a standstill, you definitely, it definitely quiets down the blow valve noise compared to how it used to be with an open element intake. Not surprising, again, but I am still glad that I do hear a little something. But let's go ahead and put it under some heavy load. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot quieter than it used to be. Once again, not too big of a deal. If you're only buying the intake for the whooshing noises over a blow-off valve, you probably want to skip this one and just go ahead and go with the open intake, or just get a blow-off valve to top it off with this one. So it's really no big deal on that portion of it. But overall, as far as power-wise goes, well, maybe it feels a little quicker. But overall, maybe just the same. I don't know. I don't expect huge power gains from an intake. Does it feel slower? No, it definitely doesn't feel slower, right? So that's a good thing. Uh, my mind is telling me it's a lot peppier. I don't see why it would. I mean, definitely a lot more cool air being forced into the intake area now over what it was with the open element, and it's now not sucking in the hot air from the surrounding area. Uh, so overall, I think it's just a win-win. This is obviously a lot more expensive than the open air intake, but definitely cheaper than the Eventuri, I believe. You know what? Let me double check on the price, because I am going to come back to you in about a week uh, at this video, right? So don't leave and thinking I'm just be driving around, and I'll be driving around for a week and then give you impressions at the end of this video. So by the time you're seeing this video, I've already had it for a full out week. Today is actually Monday, but you guys won't see it until like next Monday, which is today. You guys are now seeing it. But anyways, I'm going to drive around for a little bit, drive around for a week, and then I'll get right back to you on all the info of how this car has been for a week and how it hasn't been for a week. So, yeah, give me 1 second and I'll be right back 1 week later. All right, guys, and just like that, 1 week later, well, 6 days to be precise, I've driven around all week with the intake on. I've racked up about 300 miles almost, 280, give or take. I don't really have much places to go, so I haven't been able to rack on a lot of miles, but I have been able to put on roughly around 300 miles with no issues thus far. And I have talked to MST. If you guys remember from earlier in the video, I was talking about that one location that looked like it was meant for a bracket that was supposed to hold the vacuum sensor. It turns out that is for the vacuum sensor. It's just that in my prototyped version, they haven't released the bracket just yet, but they did tell me that when they do plan to release the final version, there will be a bracket to be included that you can mount up to that spot and hold that sensor, so you don't have to zip tie it to off to the side like I do currently, which is very nice, right? And they say final cost is looking to be right around $800 to $850 plus shipping, which makes it roughly half the price of the Eventuri intake for a full complete intake like that, which is a huge deal in my opinion, because like now you don't have to spend $1,600-$1,700 on an enclosed intake like Eventuri. You can get one with MST. And I know a lot of you guys are about to comment right now, well, you can get the 6 element for right around $400, which is half the price of the MST enclosed intake, which you would be right, except for the fact that if I'm not mistaken, and they haven't revised the design, the 6 element is not a full intake like the Eventuri and the MST are. It doesn't include the back pipe that connects from the turbo to the side pipe that wraps right around the ECU area. The one pipe I did have to change. I could be wrong. They might have revised the design, but as far as I can remember, they sell the back pipe alone for right around $200 or give or take. So if you want a full intake enclosed system, you technically still would be spending maybe $100 or $200 less than the MST, but you wouldn't be getting as big of an opening like you would with the MST. With how big the shroud is, right? And you don't get the radiator shroud that extracts the heat along with force feeding a lot more air into the intake like the MST. Which brings me to my next point about the MST intake, and this is a slight con, is that it's definitely less prominent with the blow valve sounds than it used to be. I'm assuming because of how thick the box is. You can definitely still hear it, but nowhere near as loud as it was when it was an open element. So that is a downside if you're looking for noises. I can't even hear it right now over me talking. I have to be like dead silent or like really pushing it for me to finally hear it. Or if I'm quiet enough and I'm going right around like 4,500 RPMs with enough acceleration, I can probably hear it then too. But other than that, it is extremely quiet as far as blow-off valve noises goes. But with that being said, definitely makes less noises. It's half the price of the Eventuri. Technically, double the price of the 6th element if you don't include the bagpipe, only $100 more if you do include the bagpipe. I'll have to double check these and leave the listing of the prices for the 6th element. So it's all up to you. If I had to put my money down on where you should spend it, obviously I'm going to go with the MST enclosed intake as far as enclosed intakes go, right? But if you want like whooshing sounds at the best price possible without having to buy a blow-off valve, definitely go with the MST open element intake, because you definitely get the most sound for that. It's definitely the cheapest for a full intake system, because it still comes with the bagpipe even for the open element. If you guys remember, I didn't have to change my bagpipe because it uses the same style one. It just changes the coupler, the front pipe, which is a little bit shorter now, and then obviously the box. So definitely MST is definitely the bang for the buck. But yeah, guys, that is my opinions, that is my thoughts, that has been the install on this video. Thank you. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very long video, probably closer to like the 20-minute mark, maybe even more. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys want more GR Corolla content, please subscribe, and until next time, later.